Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. I am your host, Jayden, and this is going to be episode 6 of The Alpha podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some topics that has been on my mind, some that just recently occurred, and some that has been on my mind lately. We're going to be talking about 3 essential things. We're going to be talking about the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James drama, which I have been wanting to talk about since when it happened last week. Then we are going to talk about the recent drama with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. And then lastly, we're just going to give a brief overview of the Cowboys offseason and some recent news with Kupp. And we might hit on some moves that might have happened in free agency just a little bit. But the focal point of the show is going to be the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James drama, along with the Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence drama. If you guys are enjoying the podcast, be sure to follow me, The Alpha Podcast, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel. Look in the description below to all my playlists, to my YouTube videos, as well as the Spotify link and the Apple Podcast link to the podcast. Again, thank you guys for the recent support of the podcast, and let's get to the show. The very first topic we are going to talk about is, of course, the Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence drama. So, recently, we are going to react to the video first, and we are going to give a look at what Tank Lawrence exactly had to say about what he said that triggered Micah Parsons.
You know, Dallas is my home. I made my home there. You know, my family lives there. You know, I'm forever going to be there. But, you know, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
We're here. DeMarcus Lawrence, welcome to the Seahawks. Thanks for joining us.
So this triggered a lot of fans in Cowboys media, along with a lot of media writers for the Dallas Cowboys that I do follow on a regular basis. It not only triggered them, but it also triggered the star of the Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. You've got a tweet here. Credit to Ari Miarov. This is pretty much a nice screenshot of the tweet that is in question. The tweet was, quote from the video, "Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl." Micah Parsons, quote, tweeted the post. It said, "This is what rejection and envy looks like. This is some clown bleep." DeMarcus Lawrence then commented on his subtweet, his quote tweet, and said this: "Calling me a clown doesn't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left." Let's put this into perspective. First, is DeMarcus Lawrence wrong? No, he's not. But does that make his comments right? No. I have done my research this morning. It seems that DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons really didn't have the best relationship in the locker room. I don't know if that had to do with Micah Parsons' podcast. I don't know if it had to do with something more personal that was outside of the game of football. It may have had something to do with something that did happen on the football field. There's still a big gray area there. But to say what Micah Parsons said, that he felt rejected and envious, could that be true? Yes, because it has been reported that the Dallas Cowboys did not offer they did not offer DeMarcus Lawrence another contract, because DeMarcus Lawrence did get $42 million for 3 years. That's well over, I think it was $14 million. So that's a little more than I think Dallas probably wanted to pay for a person like DeMarcus Lawrence, who is on the last end of his career. But this is some clown crap. Is it wrong for DeMarcus Lawrence to say what he said to a certain degree? Again, like I said, that don't mean his comments isn't right, because DeMarcus Lawrence is 100% true. And let's just talk about this in DeMarcus Lawrence's perspective. This is a problem with the Cowboys culture, in my opinion. They know they cannot win. DeMarcus Lawrence knows the Cowboys can't win a Super Bowl in the coming years. So what does DeMarcus Lawrence do? DeMarcus Lawrence decided, hey, I'm going to test my free agency, and then I'm going to go elsewhere. But there is a double-edged sword there. There is truth that he knows he couldn't have won a Super Bowl there. But the other side of that, DeMarcus Lawrence didn't get a contract from the Cowboys, which probably pissed him off. It probably felt like he was betrayed by the organization because he's been there for, I believe, 11 years, a very long time. He lives in Dallas. He went to college in Dallas. He probably wanted to be a Cowboy for life. He probably wanted to stay in the area for life. So there's probably, on one hand, he knew he wasn't going to get a Super Bowl, but he probably did not care because DeMarcus Lawrence has been exposed in the past of saying things like he's been tired in the Super Bowl and you can't handle the bright lights. He went on First Take. I don't know if it was the Super Bowl before. Not this Super Bowl, but the 2024 Super Bowl or the 2023 Super Bowl. I cannot quite remember. But he has been on the record stating that he was tired. He got tired come the postseason. And it's a long season having to deal with the Cowboys media. And that Cowboys stature, it's a lot and it's too much to bear when it comes to playoff time. And on the other hand, he knew he wasn't going to win. And yet he felt betrayed by the Cowboys. But I don't like that Micah Parsons decided to attack him on social media. This is another problem I have with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, keep it in-house. You could have texted him personally and said it was disrespectful and you didn't like it. You don't have to put it on social media for everybody to react to. And this is the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. Everything is on the media. Every drama-filled action with the Cowboys is on the media. It is a problem. It has always been a problem. And it always will be a problem as long as Jerry Jones is the owner because there is not a culture there. You're telling me with a culture like a Bill Belichick, do you think that would have happened? In a culture with Mike Vrabel, would that have happened? With a culture like Andy Reid, would that have happened? It wouldn't. It wouldn't have. Because the front office sets the standard. You got to keep stuff like this in-house. This is personal. By no means. This really has nothing to do with playing for the Dallas Cowboys. This is more personal. It is very personal. When you calling somebody saying this is some cloud crap and this is what envy and rejection looks like, and to move on to what what DeMarcus Lawrence did say, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. The problem I have with DeMarcus Lawrence's response is this. Bro, you said spent less time tweeting, more time winning. You was playing with him. Why are you saying you should have spent more time winning and you was his teammate? You were the one who only played 4 games this season. So did you hide your injury because you knew that they weren't good enough to win? And you saved yourself and you knew you were going to leave in the offseason? Or is it more personal? Do you have something personal against Micah Parsons? Because you can't come out here and say spend less time tweeting and more time winning. You are on his team. You got to help contribute. You are a contributing factor to the losing. You can't say that, DeMarcus Lawrence. You can't say that. What your comments about you knew you weren't going to win a Super Bowl, were you lying? No. Do I agree that he should have been spent less time tweeting and being on a podcast during the season? Yes. But you can't go on top of that and say you should have spent more time winning. DeMarcus Lawrence, you was on his team. You were on his team. You can't say something like that when you were his teammate. Are you 100% right about the tweeting thing? Are you 100% right about the podcast? Absolutely. 100% I agree with you to the core. Do I agree that you knew that you weren't going to win a Super Bowl there? Absolutely. But this is personal. And anybody who in media reacts to this is personal. And this is a problem that is greater than just DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. They know they can't win. This probably bleeds into the locker room. Stephen A has been He has been on the record before. He's had numerous conversations with people in the media, players, when the Super Bowl is around. You bring up guys like CeeDee Lamb, like Micah Parsons. Their teammates is like, oh yeah, man, they're the reason why we win. You bring up somebody like Dak Prescott, they're like, They know they're not good enough to win. But Jerry Jones will go and tell you all day they have the team. How bad does that make the owner look? Inside the locker room, they know he's not doing his job to make them great and put them in the best position. Because DeMarcus Lawrence just said it here, and Micah Parsons has been on the record saying, hey, man, I want some free agents. We need some more guys. We need some help. He said it for the past 2 years. Right now with his contract, when he should be getting paid more than what Myles Garrett just signed in $40 million, he has been on the record saying he will take a pay cut just to get free agents. So when you, Jerry Jones, when you have your own players, one who just left your team and one who is still on your team saying, our team ain't good enough to win, we need more players. At the end of the day, this fight here, this is an indictment on you in the front office. You forced DeMarcus Lawrence out because he probably felt like he couldn't win. He probably felt disrespected too. Do I think D-Law probably deserved $13-14 million from the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely. DeMarcus Lawrence has been a leader in the locker room. He has been the standard. He has kept the team together. Do I think he is a contributing factor to the weakness to some point when it comes to the postseason after his recent comments in the past? Absolutely. But our problem right now, stopping the run. What was DeMarcus Lawrence's top thing he always done? He stopped the run. Who do we have right now on the roster that can stop the run? Nobody. Not one person. But back to the task at hand, getting away from Jerry Jones and just the organizational aspect of it. Do I believe D-Law was wrong into making these comments like this because it fell out of pocket? Absolutely. As much as you've given to the fans, as much as you've given to the city of Dallas, you didn't deserve to make this comment towards the fans. Because when you said about the Cowboys, you said about the fan base. You said about the organization and the fan base as a whole. We loved you, D-Law. We loved you. I still love you. I mean, just because y'all know I keep it real. I keep it 100. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm glad D-Law said what he said to a certain degree. Because it's true. It is his home, but he knew he weren't going to win. And they know they can't win. So I'm not mad at D-Law on that point of view. I'm just mad he said it the way he said it and in the manner that he said it. And I don't like that he had to clap back at Micah Parsons, even though he had the right to do so. Because obviously if somebody calls you out in a tweet, you have the right to. But I just don't agree that this should have been handled on social media because it leads toward the problem what we have in the culture of Dallas. This should have been handled behind closed doors. Micah Parsons shouldn't have done what he did. Micah Parsons, both are wrong in the situation. Both are wrong and both are right at the end of the day. Was Micah Parsons right in calling him out, saying that it was bull jive, that he shouldn't have done it after all that he's done for the organization and the organization has done for him? Absolutely. Was DeMarcus Lawrence right in pointing out that the Dallas Cowboys is not going to win anything and he needed to move elsewhere? Yes. Do I believe DeMarcus Lawrence could have said it in another fashion? Yes, I do. But this is just another chapter in the culture of Dallas and the reason why the Dallas Cowboys can't win. It's always about drama and it's never about winning games. If you take anything from my conversation, because I know I am everywhere with this, because I got thoughts running in my brain as I am talking. There's one thing that is clear. The Cowboys are more about drama and popularity in the media than actually going on the field and producing. Do you think a player from the Chiefs, from the 49ers, it's happened with the Eagles, but they back it up on the field. the Patriots, any type of winning organization, winning culture, do you ever think that something like this would happen on social media? I haven't seen it. Specifically for somebody like the Chiefs, 49ers, point it out to me. I haven't seen it. I haven't. The Eagles do it too. They did it to a certain degree, but guess what? They went on the field and backed it up. And those rumors were coming from the reporters. It wasn't actually coming from the players from social media, like it is for Dallas right now. Even Chauncey Golston tweeted something earlier in the week that talking about, dang, I thought it was about the brotherhood. Chauncey Golston, who I said that the Dallas Cowboys should have resigned, but bro, you're not the hottest thing on the block. What do you have to say? That's the problem. People who don't deserve to have a say shouldn't have a say. In this perspective, I know that's not true to this degree. Tank Lawrence, does he have the right to say what he said? Yes. Does Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons dang sure has the right to say what he wants to say. He's the best player on the team. That ship don't run without him. If Micah Parsons was not on that ball team right now coming up this season, they ain't winning nothing. Who on that defense is going to stop anybody? If you didn't have Micah Parsons, it's going to be a track race on that Dallas defense all day, every day. That quarterback, he'd be able to call his girlfriend, text his mom, make a sandwich, go ahead and write a tweet at the end of the game. Everything. But this is the problem with the Cowboys. And it will forever be a problem as long as Jerry Jones is the owner. And that is all I'm going to say about that. And we're going to move on to the Stephen A. Smith drama going on with LeBron James. To give a little backstory on this, LeBron James confronted Stephen A. at a game last week. It was last Friday. It was after the news of Stephen A. received a contract extension from ESPN. And it was in the middle of the game, during a timeout. This wasn't close to it. This was in the middle of the game. Not at the end of the game, not at the beginning. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, sources confirmed that this was around the third quarter. Middle of a timeout. Stephen A. is right there on the sideline. This video is going to be playing while I'm talking. LeBron James goes out of his way to confront Stephen A. in his face. It was probably hard for Stephen A. to make a scene at Crypto Arena in front of all those people, in front of the media. I know he's been under fire from a lot of people saying that Stephen A. said that he didn't want to respond to the issue because a lot of people, I don't want to put this. A lot of people were getting on Stephen A. Smith because they felt like that he was going to address it even though that it didn't get popular. But guess what? It's his job. It got viral on social media. People were getting on him, even if people were literally saying if it didn't go viral, you still would have done it. I don't think he would have, because this was very personal for Stephen A. But he was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and we are going to give a overall look, and we are going to react to exactly his detailed response and his experience when this happened last Friday. And guys, do not be surprised if I make some just side comments while we watch.
What do you make of LeBron confronting you in the aftermath of that situation?
I thought it was weak. I thought it was some bullshit. But in the moment, I knew that I was listening to a father. Here's what happened. I'm represented by William Morris Endeavor. The founder of William Morris Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, had courtside seats right next to the Lakers bench. He had Larry David with him, star of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm sitting with them. I get there in the first quarter. I'm sitting courtside, and I stand up, and then I got my head turned. And then I turned back around, and a lot of people thought this was the end of the game or something like that. This was in the third quarter.
I said it. That's what I said. Third quarter.
Apparently, LeBron had walked out of the timeout, and I turned around, and he's right here in my face. He said, yo, you got to stop talking shit about my son. You got to stop fucking with my son. That's my son. That's my son. And I was like, what? He said, nah, fuck that. I said, yo, let's talk later. He's like, fuck that. Nah, fuck that. You got to stop fucking with my son. And I said, all right, dog. And he walked off. So I remember during a timeout in the first quarter, seeing Bronny. And Bronny looked over at me. And he had this sad look on his face. And I'm imagining Pop. So
hold on, pause. We're gonna run this back. I'm trying exactly was this during that game? Because I don't think Bronny was on the bench.
And Bronny looked over. So I remember during a timeout in the first quarter.
So Bronny was there.
Bronny
was there.
Looked over at me.
Oh wow.
And he had this sad look on his face.
So that is where it came from then. Bronny had to have he had to have mentioned this to his dad. He had to have. There's no way that if Stephen A is saying it's true that Bronny looked at him and then Bronny got sad. Bronny had to have said something to LeBron and it probably pissed LeBron off. Not saying that Stephen A was there to critique Bronny in any way. I know, like Stephen A said, he just signed his contract, so he was there celebrating. That makes a whole lot of sense.
And I'm imagining Pop saw that shit. It hit him. Yeah. And he couldn't hold it, and he rolled up on me. And so when I went on the air the next morning, first things first, believe it or not, I know this is shocking for people to believe, but I didn't have any intentions on talking about it until I woke up that morning and saw that the shit had gone viral. Once the shit had gone viral, the bosses at ESPN, now you got to talk about it. See, this is you and him. You got to talk about it. I said, fine. So I go on the air and I said, the first thing that I'm going to do is establish that this was a father talking to me, not a player. And that was what threw me off. And I was glad, even though I thought that he misrepresented the argument, I was glad he did. Because you see, what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with his conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him as a father. And so what happens is that had he said...
Which LeBron is right to a certain degree. I think that Stephen A has critiqued his idea of being a father when it comes to his decision to put his son in a situation that he has. So LeBron does have an argument to that point.
That to me, then I wouldn't have been thrown off. I'd have came right back at him. Yes, I was. I was talking about you. You did this shit, which I'll get to in a second. But because he didn't do that, I said, fine, you let it go. Mind you, I just agreed to my contract. Courtside, that day was when it was announced. It's all over, everywhere.
We talked about it.
Right? Yeah. It's a nationally televised game. The cameras are rolling, and I'm like, if I do anything, this is gonna be a scene. Now, we can sit up here in front all we want to and act like we don't work for somebody. Damn it, I work for Walt Disney. And if I had gotten into some shit with him at courtside right there at that moment, no matter how right I would have been, it would have been wrong. And I was like, I'm not gonna do this. But once I saw the tape of him talking to Richard Jefferson Saturday night in Boston, that was when I got really pissed because that was confirmation.
I would love to talk about that situation more if you guys would like me to react to it at some point, because I'm very interested to see what exactly LeBron James said in the video that Stephen A is referencing about what with him and Richard Jefferson. I believe it should have been last Saturday. I'm gonna look that up. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys will be interested in me checking that out. But to just give an overall, just my thoughts and ideas on the situation. Was LeBron James wrong for what he did? Absolutely. I know I may come off as one of the most LeBron James haters of all time. I'm actually not. I think he is one of the best players to ever play basketball. I think he is a top 3 player of all time. Number 2. Michael Jordan will always be number one to me. He will be missed once he retires. He's a great father, great dad, great philanthropist, has done a lot for the game of basketball, has done a lot for his community in Akron. He's just a great guy. But I swear when I come on this podcast and on my show, it feels like I have to dog this man every time because he was wrong. Again, I will reinstate. Does LeBron James have a point to when he feels insulted that he's talking about his son? Yes. Do I feel like to a certain degree that LeBron feels like he is attacking him as a person and him as a father by critiquing, by Stephen A. saying that he shouldn't have done that to his son? Yes, I do. But LeBron, you got to understand, you brought this to Bronny. It is your fault. Bronny James was on the record saying, I just want to be drafted. I just want to hear my name called. After what he endured with his health scare at USC, going into the lottery, averaging 2 points in college, a lot of people already grilling him. His past with the McDonald's All-American, even people like Kendrick Perkins saying Bronny didn't even deserve to get that. And then Bronny is in the NBA draft, knowing good and well if it was any other NBA superstar, they would have never been drafted with those college stats that Bronny had. It was, I can't find the word, nepotism. There we go. I couldn't think of it there for a minute. It's nepotism at its finest. Any other player with those college stats, they wouldn't have even thought about going to the NBA draft. You know what they would have said? Coach, I'll see you next. If they were playing for USC, all right, Coach, I'll see you at summer workouts. Am I lying? Is that too harsh? I got to be honest. If it was any other player outside of Bronny James, if they would have tried, if they would have had the numbers that Bronny had, that'd be like, shook coach's hand at the end of the season when they do their exit meeting. All right, coach, I'll see you next season. Not thought twice, but NBA draft. But because Bronny is LeBron James' son, because LeBron has been on the record saying and was during his little free agency thing and when he was threatening retirement and threatening going to get a trade and other teams, they're saying, hey, whoever drafts my son, I'll go to your team. They were using that as a ploy during his recruitment process, LeBron's free agency recruitment process. I think Rich Paul did deny that, but we know that's probably true. It was a threat it was probably not true. It was probably a threat to get more money and force the Lakers to pay up. But again, so Bronny was drafted with the 55th overall pick ahead of so many people who were more deserving, some who didn't get drafted, who was more deserving. You have the thing at the court with his son opening night playing at the same time. And what has Bronny James done since then? He has laid goose eggs. Not meaning in points, I'm just saying he's laid an egg, period, point blank. I don't want to use any other word because I don't cuss and stuff, but y'all guys can read between the lines and think that what I would say. He's played like you know what since he's been on an NBA court. He's been balling in the G League. Give him credit. There's been plenty I've seen his points. I don't know him for sure, but I've seen where he's got a 30-point game, 40-point game, if I'm not mistaken. He's been balling in the G League. But this stint from back in January, he played against the 76ers in the first quarter. No experience. Hasn't played any good basketball. JJ Redick puts him out there in the first quarter. He done nothing. Absolutely nothing. He did not even score, I don't think. He shot just awful shooting. And that led to what? The segment that Mad Dog and Stephen A. had, where Stephen A. said, this is wrong. Bronny does not deserve to be on an NBA court. He needs to be in the G League, and he needs to work on his game and get better. Stephen A was on the record saying, do I believe that Bronny can be a good player? Absolutely. Do I think one day he will be a baller? Absolutely. He has the talent. He has the gifts. He may not have the physical attributes, but he has the athleticism. He doesn't have the height. He doesn't have the hand size. None of that to what his dad has, but he has the athletic ability. He has the talent. He has the skill to where one day he could be a great player, just like the Steph Currys and the Damian Lillards, who are of smaller stature and has paved the way into having a Hall of Fame type trajectory. And I'm not saying that Bronny James was ever in consideration to have a Hall of Fame trajectory. But that's Stephen A was saying that's where Bronny needs to be because he's not ready. And then Stephen A went on to do what I think what pissed LeBron James off even more, critiquing LeBron and blaming LeBron for the reason why Bronny was out there playing and out there looking the way he is and what he was doing and how he was looking. And LeBron probably took it as, why are you lying on me? It might have been the Lakers organizational call. But a lot of people know the amount of, I don't know what the word I want to use, the amount of grasp, we can say, the amount of hold that LeBron James has on the Lakers organization and the NBA itself, his influence is slim to none in comparison to other people. I don't think I said that right. LeBron James's authority and hold and influence in the NBA and in the Lakers organization itself is out of this world. He probably has a 99.9% influence rate in comparison to other people. That's how much influence LeBron James has in this decision when it came to his son and just in the NBA in general. Because Pat Beverly has said it many times. Whatever LeBron James does, we do. Whatever LeBron James says, we say. Nothing flies without LeBron James' say so. And even when they made that Luka trade with Anthony Davis, a lot of people said it was the first time that LeBron James has never had a say so or even got an ear of knowing what was going on within a front office decision, an executive decision. That's the type of chokehold LeBron James has on the NBA and the Lakers organization as a whole. So Stephen A said what he said because we all know that. And then LeBron James goes up and confronts Stephen A and does what he does. Was LeBron James wrong? Yes. But as a father, it's understandable. As a person like LeBron James, defending your family's honor, it's understandable. But LeBron's got to understand, Stephen A's got a job. Us in the media, we have a job. We got to talk about topics ethically or unethically right. It's how it goes in the game of sports. If you're playing like trash, you're playing like trash, and we're going to point it out. If you're playing amazing, we have the right. We are going to praise you. And I think a lot of players in the media, they like the Shaqs of the people's had problems with the NBA on TNT coverage with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaq and Charles Barkley and all them lately about them just putting players down and never giving them positivity. But at the same time, that's part of their show. But that's another topic on another conversation. But it is our job in the media to make unethically and ethically correct statements about situations. It has been like that, and it will always be like that. And with the rise of digital media, it's heard and seen on a broader basis than what it was in the past. Okay? NBA players in the past, they saw harsh response on the newspaper. And a lot of people probably didn't even read the newspaper. Now, guess what? It's all on social media. Anybody and everybody can see it. Everybody's got their own voice. I have my own voice, even though it is small as a seed, as a mustard seed. My influence is very small. Okay, I have a very, 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 very small audience. But guess what? Somebody in this world is seeing this video. Somebody in this world is going to hear this video. And that is something that LeBron James has to understand. You did this to your son. And this is what you're going to reap what you sow. You put him in this limelight, and this is the repercussions for it. They have the right to say anything and say how they feel, LeBron, and you can't get mad about it. Did you have a right to say something after the game behind closed doors in private? Absolutely. You have that right. But I think it was just so wrong to go out there in that court in the middle of a game in front of everybody to see in Crypto Arena and say something to him like that. It's disrespectful. It was bull crap, and it was wrong. Stephen A just did his job. And you can't get mad at that. And that's all I have to say about that. Lastly, we are going to move on into some Dallas Cowboys news. And the Dallas Cowboys have made a lot of moves lately. You know, I've been under scrutiny saying that the Dallas Cowboys, well, not even me in general, the Cowboys fan base, Cowboys media, regular media, global media, sports media, we've all been on the Dallas Cowboys' case about not making any moves. But guess what? They have been making a lot of moves lately. Some that make no sense and some that make sense. So while I was gone, well, not while I was gone, since my last video that I posted, we've made a couple of moves. We traded for cornerback Kyer Elam from the Bills. We traded for Kenneth Murray from the Titans. We re-signed Brian Anger. And as of yesterday, we did sign Miles Sanders, and DeMarcus Lawrence signed with the Seahawks, and Rico Dowdle signed with the Panthers. That's pretty much it. And just to speak about that point right now with the Miles Sanders thing, it's just to fill another depth chart spot. It's not significant. I'm waiting for the Miles Sanders actual contract numbers to come out. So it seems like we've swapped spots. The Panthers got Rico Dowdle, and we got Miles Sanders. So we pretty much did a swap. Would I rather had Rico Dowdle? Because Rico Dowdle only got $3 million. So Miles Sanders is very young still. I didn't know Miles Sanders was still 27. So Miles Sanders had a good O-line with the Eagles. And obviously he has done nothing since he's been with the Panthers, and he basically robbed the Panthers with that contract that they gave him. You know, having a running back room with Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders is a good start, but do I think the Dallas Cowboys should still address this need in the draft? Absolutely. With this running back draft, Amarion Hampton, Genty, Trayvon Henderson, Judkins, all of them cats, you better get one of them. I better not have a running back room going into next season with Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, and Deuce Vaughn. I better not have it. With that running back class, arguably probably the best class in all of the draft, outside, including the guards, just O-linemen, wide receivers, quarterbacks, defensive linemen, linebackers, safeties. Every single position, out of every single position, running back is probably the best one in this draft. And that is a team need, so you better not even go into this draft thinking that you're not going to draft one in the first 2 rounds. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because, again, I've said it in my last podcast. NFL owners better not sit here and think that them running backs is not going to drop like hot flies. Don't think they're all going to fall in the 3rd round. If you see that running back, you better go ahead and get him while the getting is good. Okay. And that's my quick thoughts on Miles Sanders. Does he probably have some juice left in the tank? Yes. Is it good to get a veteran, who's produced in the past? Yes. Javonte Williams, he's coming off an injury. Does he have a chance to be great? Yes, I do. I 100% agree with all those statements. But, like I said, the Dallas Cowboys better address the need at running back. And, of course, re-signing Brian Anger, great move. He's been great for us on special teams, been our punter the last 4 or 5 years he's been on our team. Great signing. And I don't think the trade for Khalil Elam. I don't like it. We've been trying to trade for him for the last couple years. I think this past season, we were trying to trade him. Do we need cornerback depth? Absolutely. I think we should be on the phone. We should be trying to sign Asante Samuel Jr. as fast as possible. I think we should be trying to sign Stephon Gilmore at a good price as well. I think he played pretty good for Minnesota. But Alon was a former first-round pick, and the Bills have been trying to get rid of him since he's been there. They traded for Rasul Douglas because of Khalil, however you say his name, Khalil Lim. His play has not been great. He just has not been a good football player. He has been playing third string at the cornerback position ever since he's been drafted. Is it going to be good for him to probably get a new change of scenery? Absolutely. But it doesn't wow me. I still think, again, we should address it by free agency, get one in the draft as well. I just don't think he's just not a good ball player. Well, let's just put it at that. I know I'm pretty much sugarcoating everything, but we're just going to call it like it is. He's not a good football player. I mean, we're just going to have to leave it at that. He's just not a good ball player. The trade with Kenneth Murray. Needed a linebacker. He was with the Los Angeles Chargers the first couple of years, and he was with the Titans last year. He's a run down the line type of linebacker. He gets in there with the defensive line. He runs downhill. He tackles. Has he been a crazy out of this world linebacker? Not really, but it's linebacker help. DeMar Overshawn is obviously going to be our star linebacker, along with Maurice Leofau. I think the guy from LSU that we've had the last couple of years, I really can't think of his name off the top of my head. I've said it so many times, I don't know why I forgot it, but y'all know I'm talking about, the guy who had the neck injury coming out of LSU. He has not produced to the way that the Cowboys have liked for him to. They've said it in recent interviews. So moving in and trading for a linebacker with some late draft picks, that doesn't hurt. Just love to see it. You get depth. You know, with Matt Eberflus at the helm now, you never know what you could get out of these guys like Elam and Kenneth Murray. You know, Eberflus did develop Shaq Leonard into being an all-pro, and now he's not even in the league anymore, which is very shocking because his play has just slowly decreased the last couple of years. So does Matt Eberflus has the chance to do something crazy and produce and make these guys do what they should have been doing coming out of college? He does have a shot to do that. So I'm open to that. Whenever you can get linebacker help, that is always best to do so. Now, finally, the news coming out of today. It seems that Cooper Kupp is a top candidate for the Dallas Cowboys after being cut from the Rams, and he's saying a decision from Cooper Kupp could be made as high as today. Earlier this morning, Adam Schefter did report that Cooper Kupp the Dallas Cowboys did make a push for Cooper Kupp, and then recently Adam Schefter came out and said even though they did make a push, it seems very unlikely that the Dallas Cowboys will sign Cooper Kupp. And obviously from Dallas Cowboys media in the last couple of hours, they have said that do not love for the Dallas Cowboys to sign Cooper Kupp. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys should sign Cooper Kupp? Yes. I wholeheartedly believe that the Dallas Cowboys should sign Cooper Kupp. You need running back to help. Not running back to. You need wide receiver to help. You need somebody outside of CeeDee Lamb. I don't really think these guys in drafts in this draft is like a Jamar Chase, like a Justin Jefferson. They have that effect where they're going to be a plug and play and they're going to be a transcendent talent. That is not these guys in this draft. Luther Burden and T-Mac, they're the only really guys I see. And Buka is a good guy that you would like to get, but he's smaller. We need a bigger wide receiver. We need a guy that you can throw it downhill to, and like a Mike Evans type wide receiver. That's what we need. T-Mac and Luther Burden fit that description. And Buka really doesn't. And Buka is more like a slot guy. Would I be mad if we got him? No. It's just in some way, form, or fashion, we got to address that need at the wide receiver spot. Do I think Cooper Kupp would be a great addition to the wide receiver room? Absolutely. But his price seems to be very hefty. I think Cooper Kupp is right now, I think they said he is asking for 12 to around 13, $14 million, which is a tall ask for a lot of people given his injury history. I would say I would take that chance. He's won the Triple Crown. Even when he wasn't hurt and he came back, he produced at a very high level. He had already almost 700 yards in the little amount of games that he did play. He just really hasn't been the same the last 2 years. So I can see why NFL owners don't really want to pay that type of price. So I'm interested to see. Obviously, the Cowboys are not going to spend a lot of money. And the cheaper the price is for an individual like Cooper Kupp, they will take a shot at it. Obviously, I don't see the Dallas Cowboys paying $13-14 million for a wide receiver. Again, like we have said in the previous like I said, the previous podcast and the previous news, that the Dallas Cowboys have not spent more than $6 million on an outside free agent. So does that make me feel more confident that they're going to put north of $10 million, at least $9 million on Cooper Kupp? I don't think it's going to happen. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Again, they did say Seattle and the Cowboys are the top candidates right now, because Cooper Kupp was on the record saying that he wants to stay on the West Coast. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I do think Dallas should still try their best, at least to try and get him on the roster. Do I think that he is going to be a Dallas Cowboy? Absolutely not. I don't think so. But it's going to be interesting how that plays out in the next coming days. And I hope Cooper Kupp is in wearing a star on his helmet. But given the history of the Dallas Cowboys in free agency and how they have handled it in the last couple of years, it doesn't seem that it is going to be likely. Sadly, it's not, but that's where we are. And just to give a thought process on the Cowboys free agency overall so far, it's very cheap. You're getting players that people quit on. You're getting players that are former first-round picks that haven't worked out. I guess you're probably hoping that they can resurrect their career somewhat, and that's the approach you're going to take, because you know you're going to get them for cheap, and they're going to come play for the Dallas Cowboys, because it is the Dallas Cowboys at the end of the day. Yeah, I see the reason why you're doing that. But do I wish that they could have got some bigger names? Absolutely. Do I still think they should go out there and get some bigger names? Because there are a lot of nice available free agents left at all positions. Yes. But I don't think it's going to happen. The cheaper they can get them, the Cowboys is going to go with that option. But that is all for episode 7 of the Alpha Podcast. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, be sure to look at the podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify as well. If you guys are enjoying the outside videos as well, be sure to click on the description and check out my channel to see all those other type videos outside of the Alpha Podcast as well. I'm going to be doing a better job at making some outside content outside of the Alpha Podcast, because, you know, a lot of things like reaction videos and all that I need to get a lot better on. But overall, again, I thank you guys for the recent support on the channel and the increased time in my watch hours. Just be sure to tell a friend about my videos. Recommend them to a friend who loves podcast style video. And do not forget to hit the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel and to tap the notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. Thank you guys for joining me. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.